Hey, this is Gregory with Southpaw Skutati, and today I wanted to talk about the Byzantine kite shield. So my kit is focused primarily on the mid to late 10th century, about 960 or so, the conquest of Crete up until about 1000, maybe you could push that to like 1015 or so, the conquest of Bulgaria. But I've got here a kite shield, and it's generally accepted that the Byzantines either developed the kite shield or were early adopters of it. There are some artistic depictions of it that go to the late 10th century, and there's also textual references in some of the military treatises of triangular shields, and we generally understand those to be kite shields. Also, within the military treatises, the Precepta Militaria, which I believe is attributed to Nikephoros Phokas, written in the late 10th century, prescribes the size of the shield, and it says that the heavy infantry, the front two lines of infantry, should have shields no smaller than 6 spans. So a span is the distance between the end of your thumb to the end of your pinky, and the shield should be no smaller than 6 spans. So this ends up coming out to about 4 feet long and about 2 feet wide. It is curved. They may have been curved the other direction as well, the other plane, more domed in total. We don't really know, but the art seems to possibly suggest that. This kite shield is made as historically possible as I could manage realistically. So it's made from 2 7mm birch plywood boards that have been glued together with wood glue and then faced with 3 layers of linen on the front, 2 layers of linen on the back, and then I've got a edging of linen that's been glued and then sewn down as well. So it ends up making, for a fairly large shield, it's fairly thin and it's pretty light as well. So it's only about 7 pounds, just under 7 pounds. And so that makes for, you're really able to pretty easily move this thing around and use it. Another really unique characteristic of this shield is the grip. And so this is called the Hiasma grip. And it's seen in several different manuscripts from the period. The one that I know of the most depictions of it would be, it's in the Vatican Library. I think it's manuscript GR.333. And there's several depictions of this style of grip where it looks like it's just 2 leather straps. And so these straps are just hanging down. They don't always show a padding or anything like that. I've added that myself. But the general understanding is that you would be able to hold this center bossed like I have been. And so that makes it really easy to do like one-on-one fights or duels, something that you can grab the shield, you can hold it out in front of you, and you're able to fight and maneuver a lot easier. And it actually provides a pretty sturdy grip because these straps are just far apart enough to where they're pretty much just touching, just barely. And that allows you to really pull the shield in toward you in a way that some center bossed shields, center grip shields, you don't really get the benefit of pulling it in toward you from a non-center line point. So for me, like, that really just feels like I'm able to get a lot of control over that shield, and it's not as flimsy as it would be if you were just holding on one point in the center. So you get a benefit of doing that, and then additionally, the frontline infantry were supposed to have spears that were between 12 feet and about 14 feet long, somewhere in between there. And while you could use that one-handed, you can't really realistically use a spear that long one-handed. And so I've gotten a lot of questions. There's a lot of questions in the community of like, how in the world do you use a shield this large and a spear that long? And I believe that the Hiasma grip is a potential solution to that question. It's a very simple grip, but while it allows you to hold it center grip like this, you can also grip it like this. So you can put your hand in here and you can hold, and you can use the spear one-handed, you can use your sword. And if you give it a little twist, it really is very sturdy. And additionally, you can stick your arm all the way through here to your elbow, and you can stick your hand out just far enough to where you can grab your spear. And if you brace up against yourself, your shield on your shoulder and up against your knee, you can use two hands to hold that 12-foot long spear and really have like a very firm, steady stance. And to me, that makes the most sense for what we're looking at in period Byzantine military manuals. So it makes sense that these guys were standing shoulder to shoulder, shield to shield, with these very long spears in tight formation, multiple rows deep. And so really the simplest way, the way that makes the most sense, is with a Hiasma grip and holding those spears two-handed. So I'm going to go outside and demonstrate that for you guys. But yeah, I just wanted to highlight my shield. I've gotten a lot of questions about it, and so I wanted to do a little video for you guys. All right, thanks. Okay, so we've made it outside. So this is the shield, as you can see on my body. It comes up to about my sternum. Like I said, it's about 4 feet tall, 2 feet wide. I'm on the shorter side, so it's going to be smaller than if you were taller, of course. But if you measure it with your spans, the ratio should be pretty similar. Probably comes right up to your sternum or so, would be the appropriate size for a large shield for a frontline infantry or so. Something that I forgot to mention inside was that we also have mentions of different shapes of shields as well. So there are rectangular shields, round shields, ovoid shields, maybe shields with flat bottoms that are triangular. So there's multiple different shapes of shields that the Byzantine infantry in the period used. So it was not just all kite shields. I think kite shields are just the most popular right now because it's a good looking shape, right? We like this shape as modern reenactors. So multiple shapes were appropriate, but this is the one that I chose. So let's look at the different grips. So here is here's the Hiasma, and let's use the sword. Now, I'm not a fencer. I've taken like a month of HEMA classes. I've done some sparring for events and stuff like that. So I am not your guy to talk to about proper fighting technique or footwork or anything like that. I'm also left-handed, and I'm doing this right-handed at the moment. So don't use me as an example for proper fighting technique. But this is to give an example of the utility of the Hiasma grip. So holding it in the center boss grip, the center grip, I've got that pad of leather and some linen behind it to keep it nice and soft. I can push this shield out really far in front of me, and that gives a huge cone of defense protecting me. So with a shield this large, I'm able to hold it out, and it being as light as it is, it's really not that much of a struggle to keep it held out in front of me. So I can do my attacks, I can move, I can do whatever I need to do from a fairly safe position, right? And that's the benefit of being able to push that out further. You can also use a guige strap and wrap that around you, which would provide more support, and you could hold it out without being strained even longer. Let's look at the more traditional strapped arm. So here, you're gonna lose that entire length of your forearm. And that might have utility in certain situations too. It's a lot sturdier of a grip. If you grab and twist like this with my hand, I'm able to get a lot of stability, whereas you're not able to get just as much as that with the center grip. And I'm still able to fight. I'm still able to hold the shield out. It's a little bit more straining for me. It's a little bit more arduous. And I don't get quite as big of a cone of defense, but it still works. And then finally, let's look at the last grip, which is going to be for formations. So I can stick that all the way up to my elbow here. My hand sticks out just far enough to grab the spear. So if I brace with my knee against here, my little foot sticking out, probably they would have worn chassis. But this also really gives you an idea of how much coverage Byzantine infantrymen would have had in formation. He would have had his buddies with the shields beside him as well. And with some mail chassis, you really don't, you're not showing very much, maybe some of your arm. But even less than that if you're holding the spear back behind you. That might also explain why we don't see a lot of limb defenses in period artwork. There's one pair of chassis that were found in Bulgaria, in a Bulgarian catacomb, ascribed to the, I believe it's like 9th century, that could be Byzantine. And then we don't have any arm protection at all, other than mail, and most of the mail, it ends at the t-shirt level. So it begs the question of like, what were arm defenses? Did they use them? Was it artistic license or tradition? They didn't include them for some reason. There's a lot of questions. Nobody really has a perfect answer for it. There's a lot of conjecture and discussion about that right now. But this would explain, to some extent, the lack of it, because maybe they just didn't need it. Maybe they only needed to cover their vital areas. Because that is just, it's a lot of protection. Remember, you're gonna wear a helmet, some form of aventail, open or closed, and you're holding your spear in front of you. So let's pick up the spear and I'll show you what I found to be a possible way of using this. So you plant the spear in the ground. You're not risking poking the guy behind you, because remember, in Byzantine formation like this, you're gonna be multiple rows of people. So with my left arm strapped here, I can actually hold this, and I can get pretty far back on it. The further back I go, the lower I get. But I can adjust to where I need to adjust. I could even hold it one-handed if I needed to, but it's gonna be way sturdier holding it with two hands. And I'm able to just press that up against my shield. And with that, I've got the ability to move it around as I need. And I'm able to cover the guy on my right and a little bit on the left, pretty well in front of me as well, up and down. And that, that's pretty good. So remember, you're gonna have a guy beside you, left and right, and someone else behind you. So 12 to 14 foot long spear with a large shield and the Hiasma grip seems to be an appropriate solution to that problem of how do you hold such a long shield in formation in battle when you're fighting guys coming up against you or on horseback. And it's not the most comfortable thing, but it's effective and it works. So that's my 2 cents on this. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, go ahead and give it a like. And if you like my content, please subscribe. Be on the lookout for more to come. Thanks.